The wind howled across the ruins of an alien world. Red dust covered everything, broken towers, shattered roads, and empty homes. It was quiet. Too quiet. Ethan Rain, a human explorer, stepped out of his small landing ship. He looked around, scanning the area with his helmet visor. No signs of life. Just more silence. He muttered to himself, "Looks like another dead world." Ethan was on a solo mission, collecting data and old tech for Earth Science Fleet. This planet, once home to an ancient alien race, had been silent for over 100 years. No messages. No signals. No survivors. He moved carefully through the ruins, checking his scanner. The machine beeped softly. Energy traces, but faint. He followed the signal, weaving through collapsed buildings and strange alien statues. One statue caught his eye, a tall, armored woman with sharp eyes and a long spear. She looked proud and angry. Suddenly, his scanner glitched. Then stopped. The air grew colder. Ethan turned around. Someone, something, was standing in the shadows behind him. A figure stepped forward. Not human. She was tall, nearly 7 feet. Her skin was silver gray, with glowing blue marks along her arms. Her eyes burned gold like fire. Her hair flowed behind her like black smoke. She looked like the statue, but alive. Ethan froze. The alien woman stepped closer, staring deep into his eyes. Her voice was low, almost a whisper, but full of power. "You're not afraid of me, human?" Ethan blinked. His heart pounded, but he didn't run. He didn't raise his weapon. "No," he said calmly. "Should I be?" The alien narrowed her eyes, confused. Most beings screamed or ran when they saw her. But not this man. "You know who I am?" she asked. "No," Ethan replied. "But I know what fear looks like. And you don't look like a monster. You look sad." That made her pause. "I am Zaya," she said after a moment. "I was once a general. A warrior. Now I am nothing." Ethan lowered his scanner. "What happened here?" Zaya looked around the ruins. "Betrayal. War. My people turned on each other. I fought to protect them. In return, they left me behind." She stepped past Ethan, her steps quiet but heavy. "I've been alone for a long time." Ethan followed slowly. "You stayed here for 100 years." "I could not leave," she said. "The others feared me. Even my own soldiers. They sealed me in this city. Said I was too dangerous." "But you didn't attack me," Ethan pointed out. Zaya looked at him again. Her voice cracked for a second. "You're the first visitor in a century. And the first who did not flinch." Ethan smiled, just a little. "Well, I'm not like most people." For the first time, Zaya looked unsure of herself. "Why are you here, really?" "Looking for answers," he replied. "And maybe some good tech." Zaya let out a quiet sound. It might have been a laugh. The wind howled again, but this time, it didn't feel so empty. Suddenly, Ethan's wristband beeped, a warning. Power signatures were rising nearby. Zaya turned sharp. "They're coming." "Who?" Ethan asked. "Old machines," she said, her voice hard. "Drones. Still follow old orders. Kill intruders. Even me." Ethan tensed. "What do we do?" Zaya raised her hand, and energy glowed around her palm. "We fight. Or you run." He looked at her, then shook his head. "I didn't run from you. I'm not running now." She stared at him for a long second. Then nodded. "Then stay close, human. And try not to die." And just like that, the ruins weren't empty anymore. They were alive. A battle was coming. And in the middle of it, stood a human and an alien woman once feared by galaxies. But maybe, just maybe, this time, she wouldn't have to fight alone. Zaya moved like a shadow through the broken ruins, silent but powerful. Ethan followed, clutching his blaster tightly, eyes scanning the skies. The warning on his wristband kept flashing. Drones. Incoming. He could hear them now, metal wings slicing through the air, their engines humming like angry wasps. Zaya paused behind a wall of cracked stone, her glowing marks brightening slightly in the dim light. You said they still follow old orders, Ethan whispered. That they try to kill intruders. Zaya nodded. They were once mine. Now they hunt even me. They remember my face, but not my command. Ethan swallowed. Can we take them? Zaya didn't answer. She just stepped forward, palms rising. Twin arcs of energy spun between her fingers. In seconds, the first drone appeared over the rooftop, sleek, black, and deadly. Zaya struck first. A bolt of blue light shot into the sky, frying its circuits mid-air. The drone crashed in flames behind them. But 3 more followed. Ethan ducked as gunfire lit up the ruins. He returned fire, blasting one of the machines out of the sky. Another swooped low, aiming for Zaya. She turned, caught it mid-air with a wave of force, and slammed it into the ground. It shattered like glass. But then, silence again. Zaya stood still, breathing heavy. Not from the fight, but from the memories. They were mine, she said softly. I trained them, built them, programmed them to protect this place. Ethan walked up beside her. And now they see you as the enemy. She didn't reply. Instead, she touched the wall next to her. A glowing mark appeared, and the stone slid open, revealing a hidden room inside. Without a word, she walked in. Ethan followed. The room was cold and dark, lit only by soft blue lights embedded in the walls. Old alien tech floated gently in the air, screens, files, broken weapons. And in the center was a large pod. Ethan stared at it. It looked like a coffin. Or a prison. That's where they sealed me, Zaya said. Ethan turned. She wasn't looking at the pod. She was looking at her reflection in one of the polished screens. She raised a hand to her face, tracing the glowing mark over her eye. This, she said, is not decoration. It's a punishment. A mark of betrayal. Ethan stayed quiet, listening. I fought for peace. I went against orders to save lives. For that, they called me a traitor. Her voice cracked. My army turned on me. My commanders ordered my exile. And the drones, they were told I was no longer their master. Ethan stepped closer. They punished you for mercy. Zaya looked at him. Your people would not understand. Ethan gave a sad smile. You'd be surprised. He sat on the floor. On Earth, we have stories too. About soldiers punished for saving the wrong people. About heroes forgotten by their own kind. She tilted her head. And what happens to them? Some vanish. Some break. But a few come back stronger. Zaya stared at him again, longer this time. Like she was seeing him for the first time. You are not like the others who came before, she said. They feared me. You sit beside me. I don't fear the broken, Ethan said. I fear those who break others and call it justice. Silence filled the room. But it wasn't uncomfortable. Zaya finally sat down across from him. For a moment, they just existed. No war. No drones. No fear. Only 2 people who had lost too much, and found someone who didn't run. Then the silence broke. A deep, metallic rumble echoed from outside the ruins. Something heavier than drones. Bigger. Zaya stood quickly. They're bringing the juggernaut. Ethan frowned. That's bad. Her eyes glowed brighter. Very. He grabbed his gear. Then we make a plan. She looked at him again. Not with coldness. But something new. Something softer. You stay, she asked. Ethan smirked. Told you. I'm not like the others. For the first time, Zaya smiled. Not out of pride, but out of hope. The ground trembled. Far in the distance, something massive moved through the ruins, slow, heavy, unstoppable. Ethan stood at the broken doorway of the chamber, watching the dust rise into the sky like smoke. His heart sank at the sight. A dark shape rolled through the shattered city streets. It wasn't just a drone. It was a machine the size of a small building, moving like a beast with armor. Glowing red sensors scanned every direction. The Juggernaut, Zaya said behind him. It was built to kill armies. Entire planets feared it. I helped design it. Ethan turned to her. And now it's here to kill you. She nodded slowly. And anyone who stands with me. There was no fear in her voice. But there was something else, guilt. Ethan noticed. You blame yourself. I do, she admitted. I gave this machine its mind. Its strength. I believed it would protect my people. Instead, it became the hand of their cruelty. Outside, the Juggernaut crushed what was left of a tall spire. The impact echoed like thunder. Ethan checked his gear. His blaster wouldn't help much here. Can it be stopped? He asked. Zaya didn't answer right away. Her glowing hands clenched into fists. It has a heart. A core. Deep inside. Protected by layers of armor. If I can get close enough. You'll destroy it. No, she said. I'll shut it down. Speak to it. I still know its voice code. Ethan narrowed his eyes. Then what's the problem? She looked at him, then looked away. I'm afraid it won't listen to me anymore. That was the first time he saw her unsure. The powerful warrior, doubting her own creation. Ethan stepped in front of her. Then let's make it listen. Zaya blinked. You think I came this far just to run now? She stared at him, eyes scanning for a lie. She found none. Very well, she said. Together, they moved. Out of the hidden chamber. Through the ruins. Toward the monster. As they crept through the crumbling buildings, Ethan noticed how Zaya moved differently now. She wasn't just guiding him. She was staying close to him. Protecting him. And maybe, relying on him too. They reached a high platform overlooking the open plaza. Below them, the Juggernaut was scanning the area with red light. Its armor looked like plates of stone mixed with steel. A walking fortress. Zaya raised her arm. A small hologram flickered to life on her wrist. Alien symbols danced in the air. I'll trigger a decoy pulse, she whispered. It will draw its scanners away for 30 seconds. You need to get to that hatch on the side. Ethan stared at her. Me. It won't recognize you. You'll be invisible for a few seconds. Just enough to open the access gate from the inside. And then I'll go in. He hesitated. You really think this will work? No, she said. But I have to try. Ethan smiled slightly. You really are terrible at giving pep talks. She turned to him. Her golden eyes softened. You're different, she said. I expected fear. You bring balance. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. Then, before he could reply, the decoy pulse triggered. The Juggernaut shifted, roaring to life. Its sensors flashed and turned away. Ethan ran. He dashed across the plaza, dodging rubble, heart pounding. Reached the side hatch. Opened it. Waved her in. Zaya leapt down like a shadow, landed beside him, and vanished into the beast. Inside, the metal walls pulsed with red light. The air was thick with heat and noise. At the core of it all, a black sphere floated, humming with power. The brain of the Juggernaut. Zaya stepped forward and raised her hand. I am Zaya, she spoke in her native tongue. Daughter of Vela. Last general of the Thiraxis Guard. I command you to sleep. The Juggernaut paused. Lights flickered. Then, it roared. It did not listen. The voice it returned was cold. Zaya, marked traitor. Authority revoked. Suddenly, alarms blared. The machine knew she was here. It had rejected her. Ethan shouted, We need to get out. But Zaya didn't move. She stared at the core, face calm but eyes blazing. "No," she whispered. "If it won't listen, I'll make it feel." The walls shook. Red lights blinked like angry eyes. The Juggernaut's core glowed hotter, brighter. Xayah stood frozen before the black sphere in the center of the chamber. It was her creation. Her mistake. And now, her judge. Ethan grabbed her arm. "It's rejecting you. We have to go, now." She didn't move. The voice of the Juggernaut echoed again. "Xayah. Former General. Command authority removed. Initiating threat removal." From the side walls, metal arms began to unfold, each tipped with blades and glowing weapons. Xayah's jaw tightened. She whispered, "I have one more way." Ethan looked at her. "What do you mean?" "I helped build the core. I added something secret. A second connection. A deeper link." She turned toward him, eyes glowing more brightly now. "But it's dangerous. It uses the soul." Ethan's breath caught. "You mean?" "I must bind my life to the Juggernaut for it to hear me." She stepped forward slowly. "It will hurt. It may kill me. But if it works, it will listen again." "No," Ethan said, stepping in front of her. "You don't have to die to prove you were right." "I already died," she replied softly. "The day my people left me here, I became a ghost." Ethan didn't know what to say. She placed her hand on the core. A burst of energy surged through her body. She gasped but didn't pull back. "Xayah, stop!" Ethan shouted. "Let me try something first." She turned her head slightly. "You. The machine doesn't know you. You're not in its records." "Exactly," Ethan said. "It doesn't hate me. It doesn't fear me. Maybe it will hear me." Xayah hesitated. Ethan stepped forward, slowly. His voice calm. "This machine, it knows war. Orders. Commands. But it doesn't know me." He reached out. His fingers touched the core. And something happened. The glowing red dimmed, just slightly. Xayah's eyes widened. "Unknown user detected," the machine said. "New data. Processing." Ethan spoke gently. "I'm not your enemy. I come from Earth. From peace. And this woman," he looked at Xayah. "She didn't betray you. She saved you. She gave you a second voice." The machine went quiet. The weapons paused. Xayah stared at Ethan, stunned. He kept going. "I'm giving you a new command. Remember her kindness. Not her code. Not her rank. Her heart." Seconds passed. Then, the machine responded. "New protocol accepted." All lights turned blue. The weapons folded back. The room stopped shaking. Xayah fell to her knees, gasping for breath. Ethan rushed to her side. "You okay?" She looked up at him. Her hand trembled as she reached out and gripped his arm. Her eyes were wet. "You spoke to it, like it was alive." "It is alive," Ethan said. "You made it that way." Xayah laughed softly, tired, but free. "No human has ever done what you just did." He smiled. "No alien ever made me care this much." The Juggernaut's voice returned, but calm this time. "Xayah, status, restored. Ethan Rain, status, authorized." The door behind them slid open. Xayah stood slowly. She looked stronger. Not because of power, but because of trust. She turned to Ethan. "You didn't just save me." He shrugged. "You saved me first. I just returned the favor." Outside, the sky began to shift. Blue clouds broke through the dust. Sunlight touched the ruins for the first time in years. Xayah whispered, "Maybe the planet isn't the only thing waking up." For the first time, sunlight touched the city of ruins. And for the first time in over a century, the Juggernaut was silent. Ethan and Xayah walked through the ancient streets, side by side. The red dust no longer felt heavy. The silence no longer felt empty. They had survived. And for a brief moment, it felt like hope. But hope can be loud. And the universe always listens. Back on Ethan's small ship, the control panel blinked. A message. Emergency beacon, activated. Ethan froze. I didn't send anything, he said, rushing to the console. Zaya leaned over his shoulder. It must have auto-triggered when you entered danger. It's standard protocol, right? He nodded slowly. Yeah, but only if I was unconscious. Or dead. He checked the logs. The beacon had been transmitting for 7 minutes. To everyone. To anyone. Across systems. Zaya's face darkened. Turn it off, she said quickly. Ethan shut it down, but the damage was done. Signals in deep space travel fast. And some ears are always waiting for a sound. Ethan tried to stay calm. Okay, maybe no one noticed. Zaya didn't move. No, she whispered. They noticed. Hours passed. They stayed in the ship, watching the skies. Nothing came. Until night. Just after darkness fell, the first shimmer appeared in the stars. A flicker. Then another. Zaya's breath caught. That's not natural. Ships. Ethan asked. Not ships. Hunters. Her voice was cold. She stepped outside, scanning the sky with ancient tech from her armor. Her glowing marks pulsed faster now. They're cloaked, she said. I can't see them, but I feel them. Ethan stepped beside her. Who are they? She looked at him. The ones who exiled me. The ones who fear what I know. They've been waiting for me to send a signal. Ethan's stomach turned. And I did. She touched his arm. You didn't know. But now we have to be ready. Can we run? Zaya shook her head. Not far enough. Not fast enough. The Juggernaut's voice echoed in the ship. Unknown vessels approaching. Stealth pattern identified. Threat level, high. Ethan sighed. Great. So what now? Zaya turned to him, eyes glowing brighter than ever. Now, we make them afraid. They worked quickly. Zaya reactivated the Juggernaut, but modified its response. No killing, she told it. Not unless we have no choice. This time, we protect. Ethan set up a signal jammer. I can delay their scanners. Maybe block communication. Zaya nodded. Good. I'll handle the rest. By midnight, the first enemy ship uncloaked above the ruins. Sleek. Silver. Silent. It hovered, scanning. Then a voice beamed down across the city in perfect English. To the human and the traitor, you are ordered to surrender. You are trespassing on protected ground. You will not be warned again. Zaya stepped forward, no fear in her stride. She raised her chin and replied loud and clear. I am not trespassing. This is my home. You left me to rot. I survived. I remember everything. Come down and try to take me. Silence. Then, movement. The ship began to descend. Ethan looked at her. They're not bluffing. Zaya's eyes narrowed. Neither am I. The city, once dead, was waking again. And for the first time, it would fight for the right side. Not for conquest. Not for fear. But for justice. And somewhere, deep in the alien skies, more ships were coming. Some would bring war. Some, something worse. And none of them knew that a human and a so-called traitor had already decided. They won't run. The enemy ship touched down in silence. No smoke. No sound. Just stillness, like a blade sliding into soft ground. Zaya stood at the edge of the plaza, her long coat brushing against the broken stone. The wind had stopped. Even the Juggernaut, towering behind her, was still. Ethan stood beside her, eyes locked on the enemy ramp slowly opening. 5 minutes ago, we were planning breakfast, he said. Zaya smirked. Now we're planning war. From the shadows of the ship, armored figures stepped out, tall, sharp, deadly. Their armor was black and polished like mirrors. Each one carried a weapon that glowed with violet energy. And in the center was their leader. She wore no helmet. Her face was hard. Pale blue skin. Eyes that looked like frozen stars. Zaya's smile vanished. "That's Commander Kyress," she said quietly. "She was once my second-in-command." "She looks like she wants to kill you," Ethan muttered. "She always did." Kyress stepped forward, her voice clear and sharp. "Zaya of the Thiraxis, you are to come with us immediately. The traitor's sentence remains. The human will be erased." Zaya didn't blink. "I'm not coming. And the human isn't yours to touch." Kyress tilted her head. "You've grown soft." Zaya stepped forward. "No. I've just grown smarter." At that moment, one of the enemy soldiers raised his weapon slightly, barely an inch. Zaya noticed. So did the Juggernaut. In a flash, its cannons hummed to life, aiming straight at the intruders. Kyress paused, lips tightening. "So you reactivated it?" Ethan spoke up now. "And reprogrammed it. Now it protects people instead of burning them." Kyress raised her eyebrow. "And you must be the reason she's gone rogue." Ethan shrugged. "Call me a bad influence." Tension crackled in the air. Then Kyress said 2 words. "First strike." The battlefield erupted. Enemy soldiers opened fire. The Juggernaut unleashed a shield dome just in time, deflecting the first wave of plasma blasts. Zaya moved fast, graceful and deadly. She wasn't just a warrior. She was art in motion. Ethan ducked behind cover, returning fire with sharp aim, but his blaster wasn't made for this. His shield cracked. His shoulder burned. Zaya noticed. She leapt between him and a blast, taking the hit across her armor. She stumbled, but didn't fall. "Why are you protecting me?" he shouted. She didn't answer. Her eyes were locked on Kyress, who was watching Ethan like a puzzle. "You're not just a scavenger," Kyress said. "You're not here by accident." Ethan's heart skipped. Zaya looked at him, confused. What is she talking about? Ethan hesitated. Then, he slowly lowered his weapon. "I didn't just crash here," he said. "I was sent." Zaya's expression shifted. "By who?" Ethan looked guilty now. "By the Interstellar Peace Corps. We heard about this place. The silence. The war. The last signal from this planet was yours, Zaya. And they wanted to know if you were still alive." Kyress laughed darkly. "So the humans sent a spy?" "No," Ethan said. "They sent a witness. To see the truth." Zaya stared at him, eyes unreadable. "You knew who I was all along?" she asked. Ethan shook his head. "I knew the name. I didn't know you." She looked away, hurt flickering across her face. But then she nodded once. "Good. Then you can tell them what happens next." And with that, she charged. Not away. Forward. Zaya collided with Kyress in a blast of light and force. The ground cracked beneath them. Sparks flew from their weapons. They moved like 2 storms crashing together, one born of fire, the other ice. Ethan called for her, but she didn't stop. This wasn't just war. This was unfinished history. And in the sky above, another enemy ship shimmered into view. The first strike was over. But the real fight had just begun. The sky was burning. The second enemy ship uncloaked above the city, twice as large as the first. Its lights scanned the ruins like eyes. New dropships rained down, and with them, more soldiers. But on the ground, Zaya didn't move. She stood over Kyress, breathing heavy, blade still humming in her hand. Kyress lay on the stone, her chest plate cracked, one eye swollen shut. "You should kill me," Kyress whispered. "Finish what you started." Zaya didn't strike. "Instead," she said, "that's the difference between us. I don't kill what's already broken." Kyress tried to rise but collapsed again. Zaya turned to Ethan. He stood at the edge of the square, face pale, watching more enemies descend like wolves. "They're too many," he said. "We'll be overrun." Zaya looked up at the sky. "No," she said. "Not yet." She lifted her wrist and spoke something in her native tongue. The juggernaut behind her responded immediately, rising to full height, louder than thunder, brighter than the stars. Zaya looked at Ethan. "There's one last protocol. Hidden. Buried in the core. I left it there in case of war." He frowned. "A weapon?" She nodded. "A pulse. A shutdown field. It will disable all Theraxis tech in a 100-mile radius." Ethan's eyes widened. "Including your enemies." "And me," Zaya finished. He froze. "You'll be paralyzed." "No," she said. "I'll be gone. My body is bonded to the same tech. The moment I trigger it, my link ends." Ethan stepped forward. "There has to be another way." "There isn't. You don't have to die to be free." She smiled, soft, sad. "I'm not dying," she whispered. "I'm choosing. For the first time." He reached for her hand. She held his for a second longer than she should have. "You changed me," she said. "You saved me," Ethan replied. Their fingers slowly slipped apart. Zaya walked to the juggernaut. One last time. She climbed into the command seat. The lights recognized her. She looked at the stars, at the enemies coming closer, and at the ruins of the home that once rejected her. Then, she whispered, "We don't run anymore." And she activated the pulse. Light exploded across the city like a wave. Every drone, every ship, every weapon in the sky froze. Fell. Crashed. The enemy soldiers collapsed mid-march, unconscious, harmless. The juggernaut shook violently, and then went silent. Ethan screamed her name, running to the cockpit. He opened the hatch, and found it empty. No body, no armor, just a single glowing mark, fading. Weeks later, Ethan stood on the same plaza, wearing the mark Zaya once carried. It glowed faintly on his hand now. Her tech, her memory, had chosen him as its new keeper. A new beacon was built. Not a distress signal. A message of peace. To those who seek war, know this world remembers. To those who seek truth, know we chose kindness. To those who are lost, welcome home. And above the beacon stood a statue. Zaya. Not as a soldier. Not as a traitor. But as she truly was. A protector. A legend. And beside her statue stood Ethan, watching the stars, waiting. Because somewhere out there, he believed she was still watching too.